What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota, and welcome back to Cologne. Today, we are going to be looking at and reviewing Prada Carbon, and this comes from the Luna Rossa line. Alrighty, so I woke up this morning, got dressed, started thinking about what fragrance I wanted to wear. And as I was going through the cabinet and I was kind of sniffing around, for some reason I kept gravitating toward this one today. It's been a while since I've worn it. I don't know why. I genuinely like this fragrance. There's something about it that just kind of keeps me coming back to it. And I thought today would be a perfect day to go ahead and do a review on it. So as we always like to do, we're going to start out with the atomizer. And Prada's have the Luna Rossa bottle specifically have very good atomizers. They're very good center burst. They're kind of spread out. This is a beautifully blended fragrance. But the atomizer on this is very good. It's got a good center burst. It's nice and spread out. It's lightly pressurized. It doesn't like spit it out, but it doesn't give you like an insane amount coming out either. The sprays on this one are a little light compared to some of the other ones, but that's okay. And when you first spray this, when this fragrance first gets in the air and it kind of gets on your nose, one of the things that you're going to be met with is a little bit of pepper, a little bit of sharpness on it, but it's like a sharp, peppery citrus kind of vibe. And that's exactly what I get out of this. And you get like a little bit of a fresh twist out of it. I don't know. This one is kind of difficult sometimes because it's like a fresh, citrusy pepper. But at the same time, it's light. It's got a little bit of metallic note to it. It kind of stings the nostrils for the first couple seconds when you put it on. And that's kind of why I like it. It's intense, but subtle at the same time. It's kind of weird, but enough yapping on that one. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to get this bottle spinning up. We're going to get into the note breakdown and I'll be back in a minute. Alrighty, as we get this bottle spinning up, I'm going to get straight into these notes. It is a short note breakdown, which isn't too surprising because the Prada line does like to keep some of these notes under wraps. So for the top note, we're going to have bergamot and pepper. And of the top notes, the pepper to me is the most dominant, because from the moment you spray this, you're hit with like a spiciness that's fresh and it just works in this fragrance. The middle notes on this are going to be lavender, metallic, coal, watery notes, and soil tincture. Don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm probably not, but that is what we're going to roll with. And on the middle notes, the only real things that you get on the middle note is you get some of the softness of the lavender. And to me, you can pick up some of the metallic notes because that's what kind of gives it some of that sharp edginess to it. And for the base notes, you have ambroxan and patchouli. And even as far down as the base notes, I don't pick up much patchouli, but as it dries all the way down, some of that muskiness gets a little bit warm with that ambroxan, and it just works. The blend of this is very simple, but it smells very good. This is a very natural scent that quality stuff went into. But I'm gonna get this part of it wrapped up. Let me get y'all flipped back around. We can get into the rest of the breakdown. Alrighty, so I gave this one a little bit of time to dry down. I gave it a little bit of time to do its thing. And one thing I gotta say is this fragrance doesn't do a huge change. It pretty well stays the same from the moment you spray it all the way to dry down. And I feel like the blend of this is just done beautifully. Pradas aren't known for having a big change throughout their fragrances. Normally they're pretty straight, but the blend and the quality that you get out of these are so good that the fragrance just stays amazing. When you first spray this, you get a little bit of citrusy, you get a little dose of pepper, and then that's what kind of holds you through. And then there's a little bit of a floral note to this with the lavender, but this has musky. As it more of it dries down, it has like a musky undertone. That's probably the only big difference between when you first spray it and the dry down, is this gets a little bit of like a musky undertone to it. It develops just a tad bit of a powderiness, but it still has like a nice citrusy pepper vibe that has just a little bit of sharpness to it from some of the metallic notes that's in this. It's a beautiful, well blend. It's a fresh spicy, so it kind of keeps it a little green, kind of keeps it a little light, works this beautifully into like a late spring or a summer scent. But in my collection, this leans more towards spring, only because it's fresh. It's got a little bit of, it's got, like I said, some of that spiciness to it. And when everything comes back in bloom, when all the flowers open back up, when the trees start turning green and stuff, this to me is just a relaxing spring fragrance, and that's why I love it so much. Alrighty, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the price and availability of this. Availability wise, it's everywhere. It's Prada's Luna Rossa line, so every big box store is going to have it, every discount's going to have it. Now, pricing on this, most big box stores, this is going to come somewhere around the $110 to $120 range. The average discounter's cost that I was able to look up was right around that $80 to $85 range, depending on which ones you use and such like that. For $85 for this fragrance, is really, really good. This is a quality fragrance that just smells premium. Now, it doesn't have some of the big crazy changes. It doesn't have a whole lot going on in here, but it still smells very natural. It doesn't smell synthetic. And that's kind of why I feel like that's what gives a lot of these fragrances like a premium smell. This doesn't have like a cloying synthetic type of smell. But speaking of that smell, unfortunately, and I am going to be in the minority of opinions on this one, I'm sure. Everybody compares this to Dior Sauvage. To me, I prefer this over Dior Sauvage. As I've said, this one is just a little bit sharper. It's a little bit peppier. It's a little bit more peppier. It's got a little bit more pepper to it when you first open on the spray. And I kind of like that. It kind of gives it a little bit more punch to me. Not for nothing, I feel like this performs just a little bit better than the Dior Sauvage EDT because that's what this gets compared to the most. Now that will get us into the performance side of this. So performance side on this is actually pretty rock solid for what it is. I normally get somewhere between the 6 to 8 hour range on this, and that's with the standard 5 to 7 sprays. The sillage on this is around the 2 foot, and the projection is as well. So performance wise, this is pretty solid. Now, do I wish the performance was a little bit better for this kind of profile with some of the naturalness that you get out of this? Yeah, that's the only thing I might complain just a little bit on. Normally it takes like the perfect weather outside for me to get that 8 hour mark, but as a whole for this scent profile, I really, really enjoy this one. If I had to give this one overall rating right now, I would give it a 9 out of 10. And the only reason I'm a dog at that point, unfortunately, you can't deny that it does smell a little bit like Dior Sauvage. So it's not a clone by any stretch, but it is a little too reminiscent. And performance just a little. Even though I did say I prefer this one more, I'm still going to give this one a 9 out of 10. It is a little reminiscent of 1 or 2 other fragrances that has already been put out on the market. And unfortunately, some of those fragrances might beat out this price just by a little. But the reason I would lean toward this compared to some of the other ones, to me, this one's more natural. It's a little easier to wear. This is a compliment getter. You could definitely wear this on a date. This is something that is going to grab some people's attention because it does kind of have that little bit of bite to it that'll get kind of people to look up and look your way. But one thing that I will say that I'm kind of curious about, and I kind of want to get people's opinions in the comments, is for this being compared to Sauvage so much, I kind of wonder at what point do you start calling this a mass appeal fragrance, because Dior Sauvage has been a #1 selling fragrance in the US for years. And if everyone claims this smells so similar, I kind of wonder, does that make this a mass appeal fragrance, or is it just a fragrance that smells good that happens to smell similar to Sauvage? To me, this is a top tier fragrance. This is a fragrance that I'll probably always keep in my collection. And if someone wanted to be able to wear this anytime, any day, anywhere, you could. This is a fragrance that'll work for day, it'll work for night, it'll work in all the seasons. Obviously, summertime is going to be a little bit harder to wear stuff in just because it's summer, it's hot. Nothing really performs amazing in the summer, because most summer fragrance, what you're looking for is like a cool refreshingness. This doesn't necessarily have like that cool refreshing vibe to it, but this has like a nice freshness that's a little edgy. So I feel like you could still get away with this in the summer very easily. But yeah, that is going to get us wrapped up. Thank you everyone for who's commenting. Thank you everyone who's subscribing, who's watching these videos and everything else. And before I forget, down in the description of all the videos, I try to put links to these fragrances. And something that is new that I just recently did, if anyone has any recommendations, if they have a fragrance they want me to review, if they have anything, if you need, for any reason, if you need to get in contact with me, I put my email down in the description below. So those of you who are wondering, my email is kotascologne@gmail.com. Feel free to email me. I'll try to get back to everybody as soon as I can. With that being said, that is going to get us wrapped up. Go ahead and get it on this bottle one more time. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.